That's interesting. Because like we got it added to 15, we get the yellow 14, but then I was watching it, you banged the door, went in, we had like the blue. We did. What to make? Well, it may be to slow down. I mean, I don't know. You did the remote view thing, sent me over. What I was, yeah, right, I guess maybe that's like, we see a number of times in our thing, you've indicated like, that's not helpful because, young people see this or whatever. I mean, but I'm saying the main point was just like that someone coming on if there's going to be an hour long show, I was interested to know a guy runs, saying, he's a socialist and stuff. Like, I was just saying, like, what did he say that would indicate he's thought about such things was the point. But I mean, it's not that hard. I mean, I'm saying like the shift that happened in our economy starting in 1971 when we abandoned had been based on I think the thought of economists like John Maynard Keynes. By the way, this relates to why I wish people would stop talking about the New World Order having to do with like I don't know, reptiles and FEMA camps, and talk about the dead. It was part of it was you know a world economic system based that the British negotiator and John Maynard Keynes, Harry Dexter White, and John Maynard Keynes was the American negotiator that worked out a system of regulated currency and capital controls. That's one thing that was happening, but also our economy was, as I understand it, largely in line with the thought of an economist called John Maynard Keynes. That was abandoned in 1971. They deregulated the currency markets. There was a issue between capital and labor. They decided to kind of wage a one-sided capital would wage a one-sided class war by designing on a blackboard at the Chicago School of Economics a mode of economics where the physical economy was abandoned. You can't get to there won't be to have a national healthcare system that somehow people, when there's no work, no jobs, and no physical economy, is impossible. You had to talk about having a national healthcare system also involves the existence of work. And then the issue of, does every single job have health care? So any kinds of work you have would have a high wage and health care because there'd be production. I mean, that has to be part of it. You can't have it can't be like we live in an economy that's like South America with the wealth disparity, and there's like the mass of poor people that are unemployed, but everyone can go to the doctor. So in other words, for someone, I wasn't making fun of him. It's just with an hour-long show and given a chance to speak when he's not on TV much, partly because I think, because he calls himself a socialist, like he's not on TV a lot. But you think, gee, then he's on TV. I'm sure he knows, well, to just want socialized medicine when there's no work, the physical economy shut down, we're in hyperinflation, when there's a few basic, they're structural, but they're simple to talk about, economic changes that took place in 1971, they're fairly recent. There can be another economic change. If the economic change came from things, designed on blackboards at the Chicago School of Economics, and that radically changed our economy, so the economics departments at, another graduate and PhD program can, reformulate how we should do, how our economy should be structured in order for there to be any production, any work, anything for people. And then you could start talking about, making sure like, high wages and health care go with the work. And that, some kind of cross-class solidarity economy where the markets, investors are doing well, workers are doing well, and every job has health care. That's part of how you get to a national healthcare system. You can't have a talk about a national healthcare system when the economy's like this. But that's the kind of thing you think would come out of the mouth. All he said is like he wants to stop tax loopholes for billionaires. You could be on, a person, One of the nurses in that, like, the hospital I was in, I asked her what bothers you about the country. She said the same kind of thing. There shouldn't be so many tax breaks for billionaires. Okay, so you got a guy like that who's educated. He calls himself a socialist. He's got an hour on TV to discuss things. He mentions something like that. Like, why are there tax loopholes for billionaires? That's not much of a socialist.